Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
yes. We got you
Okay,
all right.
perfect. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar. We're going to give a little bit more time for people to join in. So before I start with, all the presentations, we're going to do something fun first. Okay. So, first of all, hi, my name is Nalindra. I'm from Biji-biji. And then I'm going to be your sort of presenter and sharing some of the information for YSEALI Seats this morning. And then, yeah, like I said, before we start, as we still waiting, give it a little bit more time for more people to join in. If you can go to Menti, right? And you just scan the QR code or go to www.menti.com and then use that code, enter that code. And then as you go in, hit the thumbs up button, sorry, so that I know you're in. I can see how many people are in. Whoa, more people coming in. Yeah, so I thought we'll do this for about a few minutes, do some mood checks, see how everybody's doing this morning. It's a Saturday morning. And while we wait for more people to join in. Cool, we have 29, come on, 30. We have 100, I think, in the room. So we should have more people in the Menti. All right, so as more people joining in, maybe we can just start with first question. How are you feeling this morning? I'm feeling good, right? Oh no, for those who are feeling sick, I hope you feel better, but I'm glad that a lot of you are excited, are happy. I'm based in Hawaii, so this is not actually morning my time. It's afternoon, it's 5 p.m. So I'm excited also to end the day. It's Friday afternoon here, so I'm gonna have dinner after this. But super excited to be in this room and share the information about YSEALI Seats for everyone here. And then looking at how everybody's feeling this morning is just, yeah, encouraging, right? Seeing how people are being hyped, fantastic, feeling good, feeling happy. Again, if you feel sick and you're not feeling well, for those who are not feeling well, but still coming in today, thank you so much for that. And then I do feel that this weekend, you'll get a little bit more time to sort of like feel better and rest. Cozy, energized, great. Feeling blue, or I hope with listening to this information about YSEALI Seats will then, hype more of the energy, and then it changed from you feeling blue to feeling, more either curious, excited, right? Looking forward, right, to what's ahead. Cool. More people want to share. How are they feeling today? Feeling tired? Yeah, I mean, if you're feeling tired, again, hopefully this weekend will be, somewhat the time for you to be able to get relaxed a little bit, right? Some rest, or whatever that you needed to do to actually feel more energized and rest. Good. And it's the morning, right? So hopefully you all also either already had your breakfast or having your breakfast during the session. So coffee, juices, I don't know what you eat for breakfast, heavy breakfast, light breakfast. Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Let's go to the next one as we are getting more and more people here in the room. I guess we can start the presentation soon. All right. Next question. What do you do the first thing when you wake up? I love how you're thinking about YSEALI seed. Awesome. Yeah, and especially this is weekend, right? So there's no harm in hitting the snooze button. Yeah, I think these days, like your phone is just right next on your bed, right? So the minute you wake up, that's the one thing that you want to check. I'm starting to like keep boundaries between me and my phone. So I put my phone on the living room. So I don't like whenever I have this urgency to sort of like check my phone, it's like in the other room. So it gives me more time to sort of like just yeah, recharge, I guess, when I wake up and not be on the screen. But sometimes it's just, yeah, the urgency actually also, right? Okay. I think we have how many in the room now? About 100, almost 150. So I guess it's a good number. Saying hello to everyone in the room. I hope like all countries of YSEALI members are represented. Hello to Brunei, anyone from Brunei, from Cambodia. Hello, Indonesia. Hello, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines. Anyone from Singapore, from Thailand, from Timor-Leste, and from Vietnam. We have hopefully all the 11 countries represented here in the room. And then I am going to shortly share my screen and then start the presentation. Let me pull up my slide. It got closed. Hold on. Apologize. All right. Okay. So let me now share my screen and then I can start my presentation. All right. Okay. So again, thank you everyone for joining me today. Welcome. Good morning. Thank you for, sparing your time on a Saturday morning to join this and also for being interested, right, in YSEALI for the Future program. So what's going to happen today is that I'm going to share some information about YSEALI for the Future program. So these are the three things that's going to happen today. I'm going to share with you about YSEALI Seeds for the Future. So I'll go through briefly in terms of what is the program, the program designed for this 2025 cohort, right? The timeline, the flow, the application processes, right? And then after that, I'm going to go to the application form. So I'm going to go through each of the questions, right? Go through it, giving some tips as well in terms of what is required or what is actually asked, what do we expect you to answer, right? And then after that, we're going to open up for Q&A. So we have a little bit of quite a number of people here in the room. So it would be great if you can mute yourself, right? So we can avoid any background noise so that everybody can follow the information smoothly. And then also I'm going to go through all the slides all the way till the end. And then after that, I'm going to see all the questions you have. So throughout the presentation, feel free to ask your questions, right, on the chat. And then we'll have our team as well here. So I have G Junior here, my team, to support me and sort of like making sure that, all the questions are being noted, right? And then I'll go to the questions after the presentation. And yeah, so everybody's going to stay muted. Questions will be on the chat. And then I'll go through slides first, and then I'll take on questions. All right. So first, let me share about YSEALI Seeds for the Future. So just a brief about this program if you're not aware yet. So YSEALI Seeds for the Future is one of the YSEALI program that has been consistently available as an opportunity since 2015. So from 2015, when it's launched, it's like annually every year, this opportunity opens up for, YSEALI members as a group to apply their ideas and solution for, some of the key pressing challenges in Southeast Asia, right? The program is just not, it's more than a grant, right? So it's not just providing resources of funding, but also providing mentorship and opportunity to learn, right? For the program, for the team members that get selected, for them to not only implement their project successfully, but also providing some learning opportunities for them to work together as a team and also to learn more of, on the specific topics that they're actually working on, right? And then since, 2015, YSEALI Seeds for the Future has provided over $2.5 million US dollar in funding, right? Reaching hundreds of young leaders in all the 11 countries of YSEALI members. And then again, I think everybody knows this already, but YSEALI is a program initiated by the US State Department. And then for YSEALI Seeds for the Future in specific, is a program sponsored and managed by US Mission to ASEAN, which is based in Jakarta. And us, Biji-biji Initiative, this year has been fortunate that we are trusted by US Mission to ASEAN to work on this program together. So we are now the one that are organizing the program of YSEALI Seeds for the Future for 2025. So if you want to learn more about, YSEALI Seeds for the Future and then also their past program, so you can go to the ASEAN US Mission website. You can see the grants competition. So this is the exact address of the website that you can see. And then I think it's going to be helpful and useful as well as you are thinking of applying to YSEALI Seeds. If you go back and see what are the past projects that have won YSEALI for Future, right? Learn about the past projects, but then also, be resourceful in a sense that if you think that it would be helpful for you to get a conversation with past projects, right? Reach out to them. And then, some of the past project might also have similar ideas and solution as what you are thinking already. So, bouncing some ideas with them might help potentially, right? So, and then YSEALI itself, I think, everybody here might be already a YSEALI member, so you would know, the core themes and focus area of YSEALI. So there are 4, right? There's civic engagement, there's economic empowerment, there's education, there's environmental and sustainability, sustainable development. So this core themes of YSEALI would be the anchor, should be the anchor of the project's topics that you are going to work on, right? All the projects that you're going to apply for YSEALI Seeds has to sync up or has to align with at least one of these topics, this focus area. Now going to the 2025 YSEALI Seeds for the Future program design. This year, we're doing it a little bit different in a sense that we are dividing the project opportunities into different tiers. I'll go through it on the different tiers in the next slide. But what it means is that as you apply, then you'll get, if you get shortlisted for stage 2, then you'll be informed, will inform you in terms of which level or which project tiers that you can apply to, right? And then other than like what mentioned earlier, other than providing or receiving funding, financial funding for your project to be implemented if you get selected, then you're also going to get mentorship opportunities for the 9 months of your project implementation. period. So this is the funding tiers that I mentioned, right? So there's going to be 3 funding tiers. The first one is emerging leaders. The second one is project, sorry. Okay. And then the third one is impact accelerator. So the first tier is basically for new project idea, right? So if your projects are new, that you haven't done that project or this project, or you haven't apply or implement this type of project before, then you might fall under this tier, right? So if you get shortlisted to apply under this tier, then the aim of the funding that we are looking at is to help you develop, test, and refine your ideas, right? Your new ideas, right? And we also hope that, the grant will, support laying the groundwork for you, right? To get future successes and scalability, right? If you get shortlisted to apply for this tier, then the budget that you can apply for is $5,000. The second tier is for initiatives that have been running for at least 6 months. So this featured project tiers will get funding for $8,000, right? And then you might be categorized under this if your project or solutions have been running at least for 6 months in one or more Southeast Asian countries, right? The aim of this is the aim of the funding for this tier is to help accelerate the growth and help enhance the impact of the project by using similar concept that has been proven and that has been successfully proven from previous iteration, right? And then the last tier is impact accelerator. So if you get shortlisted to apply for under this tier, then the budget that you can apply for is $12,000, right? So under this tier are those projects that have been, or solution or ideas, right, that have been running for at least 1 year in one or more Southeast Asian country. So the aim is for us to give funding to this, level of project is that to help expand the projects to reach like, larger communities or, maybe now expand it to multiple countries, right? So what does it mean with this 3 different tiers, right? On stage 1 in the application, as we go through later on the questions, you will see that we will not actually ask you which level or tiers that you would like to apply to, right? The questions that we are going to ask you is actually for us to understand where you are. So like, is it a new idea, or have you been implementing this project for 6 months or more, right? How was the impact of your previous project, if any, right? How have you been implementing, your previous project? What worked and all that? So all the questions that we have on stage 1 form is going to help the YSEALI Seeds for the Future team to then decide which tier would you best fit under, right? And then after reviewing your applications and your answers, if you get shortlisted to stage 2, we will then inform you then, okay, project A, you get shortlisted for YSEALI Seeds for the Future to stage 2 under emerging leaders tier, which means if you get shortlisted under this tier, then when you submit your budget, then you play around the budget of $5,000, right? You get a maximum 5,000 under that tier, right? Let's say, or project B, you get shortlisted now to go to stage 2 and under the future project. So that means that, you have already showcased to us that you have an ongoing project for at least 6 months that we feel that you fit under this tier. That way that you can apply for a budget of $8,000, right? And then on stage two, again, if let's say project C, you know, we after reviewing your application on stage one, we feel that, you know, you fit to apply under Impact Accelerator, given that your project have been running for more than 1 year, you've showcased, you know, how the impact has been and all that. So if you get that, then you can apply for $12,000 for the funding. So that's what it means under this tier. You will not be the one deciding which tier, but you will be answering certain questions on stage one, which then help the YSEALI Seeds for the Future team to then review and then decide which tier on stage two, if you get shortlisted, that you can apply to. Okay. So that is the project tiers. And then the next one in terms of the program design that I shared earlier is that mentorship, right? So if you get selected, if your project gets selected to be one of the 25 YSEALI Seeds for the Future project winners, then throughout the 9 months of your project implementation, you will also get mentorship, right? Mentorship here will provide two types of mentorship. So there are going to be project management mentorship, and there's going to be thematic skills mentorship. So project management mentorship basically means that we are going to provide hands-on support, regular check-ins, monthly check-ins, right? Facilitating group reflections to ensure that your project is being implemented and successfully delivering what, you know, the output that you wanted to deliver, right? And then thematic skills mentorship is a mentorship program that we're going to provide to through providing, you know, specific knowledge, technical skills that are linked to the topics and the areas of all the winning projects, right? So it would be in a format of webinars, right? We're going also to facilitate conversations between projects, right? So that they can exchange some learnings and all that. So that's what it means with thematic skills mentorship. It will going to be regular as well, but it's not going to be monthly and as frequent as the project management mentorship. So those are the two mentorship program, if you get selected, right, that you're going to go through. And this is the timeline. You might, this is also information available on the website, right? So application for stage one has been open since October 28th, and then the deadline will be November 17th, right? Today is the informational webinar, right? And then after the deadline for stage one, then if you get selected and shortlisted to go into stage two, then you will get an email from us on November 25th. And then you will have almost 1 month to submit the detailed proposal and budget on stage two, right? So stage two period will be November 25th to December 20th. In between those period, we're going to provide 2 sessions for stage two. So there's going to be another webinar on November 30th, which will be somewhat like this. So we'll have a team to go through stage two processes, right? The guidelines. We're also going to provide more detailed guidelines in terms of, you know, the proposals, the budget, right? Because that's what you need to submit to us if you get shortlisted to stage two, right? And then there's going to be another session, which is, you know, AMA, Ask Me Anything session on December 14th. So it's a week before the deadline. That will be the time if you have any, you know, last minute questions, clarification that you need to ask us, right? Or if you need to discuss, you know, anything about, you know, your proposals and whatnot, that would be the time for you to be able to join in and chat with our team. But of course, along those times, like if anything, even now, right? If you have questions that you might not, that you didn't ask, maybe you don't ask during the session, or maybe you just, you know, it come up later on after the session, or it wasn't, we don't have enough time to sort of like answer that question. You can always send an email to us and ask your questions there, right? Our team will always be on the standby and then going to respond to your email there. I'll send the email in the last slide, so you'll see that. So stage 2, deadline December 20th. If you get selected, 25 winners will be announced in January. And then winning projects implementation will be from March to November 2025. So I'm going to go through on the summary of application stages. So as everyone know already, it starts with stage 1, which is where we are right now, right? So in this stage, we're gathering essential information from you about your project ideas, about your teams, right? And then if you get shortlisted, you'll get invited for stage 2, where you need to submit detailed proposals and budgets, right? And then there might be interviews, but this is depending. This is case by case. If we feel that, we need more clarification from your project on stage 2, then we might invite you for an interview and for a quick call of clarification if need be, right? And then after that, we're gonna score and then announce the 25 winners by January 25th, right? So that would be after stage 2, scoring and then announcement. All right, the next one I wanted to show you is the project team's journey. So if your project gets selected, this is the journey that you're going to go through in the program, right? So first would be now, where's the application and selection. It starts from October, right, up until January, where the winner is going to be announced. And then there's going to be onboarding and kickoff workshop, right? So the onboarding and kickoff workshop will be in February 2025. So once the project winners is announced in January, all the project winners will be invited to come in person to a kickoff workshop in Kuala Lumpur in February. This will be a 3-day kickoff workshop where, an opportunity for the 25 projects to come together, meet with the other projects, right? And learn more from each other in terms of what are the other projects are doing. And then it's also a space for the project winners to refine your implementation strategy based on the conversation and the peer feedback that you received from the other projects, right? So that's what's going to happen in the kickoff workshop. After that comes the project implementation period, which will be from March to November 2025. Yeah. During the project implementation, other than you implementing the project, right, you will also get, as mentioned before, right, the mentorship support from the program. December 2025 will be where the final report needs to be submitted. And then in January 2026, we are going to have a virtual impact summit where, we're inviting not only the 25 projects, but, potentially the wider YSEALI network to join in and celebrate sort of like the impact that has been delivered by these 25 projects, right? The journey, listening to, the journey of all the different, the 25 projects, right? An opportunity as well to sort of like network and then maybe scale up, right? Collaborate with more partners for the next iteration of your projects, right? So that's going to happen in January 2026, and that would be the end of the 2025 YSEALI Seeds for the Future program. All right, so that's sort of like a brief introduction about the program itself, about the program flow, the entire program commitment as well. So if you get selected, those are the commitment that you need to sort of like get ready for, right? Now I'm going to go through the application form, okay? So first, let's go through in terms of eligibility and requirement, right? So who can apply for YSEALI Seeds for the Future? First, it needs to be a team, okay? You need to have a team of at least 3 core members, because these 3 core members you need to provide those information in the stage 1 application form, okay? It needs to have a project leader, a finance manager, and a project coordinator. Project leader would be the main lead of the team, the main point of contact to us, right? The YSEALI Seeds for Future team, right? The main lead that will need to ensure the implementation of the project, but also not only the implementation. So starting from the ideation, the implementation, evaluation, and then reporting. So the entire project management cycle, this project leader will need to make sure that, you know, it goes as what is required, what is proposed, right? And then deliver the output that are being written in your proposal, right? And also it will be leading the team itself, right? Finance manager would be the main point of contact in all finances matter in relation with us, right? With the YCSs for the future. So budgeting, finance report, right? And then also any communication with regards to payment, with regards to grant transfer payment, right? This finance manager will be the main point of contact that we will reach out to on all that. And then definitely finance manager will be the one responsible for the project's finances, right? And then the project coordinator will be the one sort of like the implementer, I guess, right? Supporting, you know, any logistic, any admin, any support basically to ensure that the implementation of the project runs smoothly, communications with, you know, the different stakeholders and all that, right? So we need these 3 core members to be part of your team as you apply in stage 1, right? And this 3 core member needs to be all between the age of 18 and 35, right? All these 3 core member needs to be a citizen of any of the ASEAN country or Timor-Leste, right? Team members can be from different countries. We actually prefer it that way. Like we want to see more cross-country collaboration for sure, right? But it's okay if, you know, all the team members is from one country, but it's not also an issue if team members are from multiple countries. And then at least one of the team member must be residing at the time of the proposal in the country where the project is going to take place. Okay, so doesn't necessarily have to be a citizen, but it has to reside in where the project is going to take place. Yeah. So that's sort of like the main requirement for the team composition. Other than the 3 core members, your project can have, you know, other team members for sure, right? You can have 5 to 10. And then there's also a question later on in the application where it actually asks like how many team members are your projects going to have. But at least these 3 core members are the ones that we would need full detailed information inside the application. Okay. All right. And then the other one in terms of requirement and eligibility is the project alignment. And you'll hear this like again and again, right? So your project must align with one or more of the YSEALI core themes, as mentioned before, the civic engagement, economic education, and sustainable development and environment. So I guess these are the main eligibility and requirement that you need to pay attention to, right? And then again, application process, as mentioned, right? There's stage 1, which is where we are right now, right? Deadline is November 17. And then there's going to be stage 2, where if you get shortlisted to stage 2, get selected to stage 2, then you'll get to submit. You need to submit detailed of your proposal and budget. And then selection announcement will be in January 2025. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go through now the questions. And then first part is about your team, right? So getting to know your team. We're going to ask questions on this about the 3 core members, right? So what we're looking for is, you know, personal information, professional contact details, right? To understand your team's background and experience, right? So some tips to answer these questions is, for sure, make sure, all the information is current and correct. In the email address, use an email address that you check regularly, right? And then there is a need to upload CV. So the CV should highlight relevant experience, education, and skills. And there's no strict format of the CV, but we'll share some of the points that we want to see in the CV, right? And then also, let's not put like 10 pages of CV. We want to see at least a maximum of only 2 pages of CV, but it's a comprehensive one and succinct one that, highlight all the experience and skills of the team member, right? And again, under this part, you will need to answer 3 sections with the same questions, because you need to answer for the project leader, you need to answer for the finance manager, and then you need to answer for the project coordinator. The questions that are going to be asked and fields to complete is, name, first and last, right? Nickname, date of birth. Why date of birth? Because we're going to cross-check this for the eligibility, right? Because like said before, the 3 core members need to be between the age of 18 to 35, right? Citizenship. Why? Again, going back to the eligibility, because we need the team members to be a citizen of one of ASEAN country or Timor-Leste. Yeah. And city of residence. Why this is important? Because we're going to also cross-check in terms of the location later on with the project location. Yeah. Okay, email, phone, and then CV. So CV, PDF format, but the template, we don't have any strict template, right? Like mentioned, please have it maximum 2 pages only, right? Provide detail of, education background, professional experience, relevant skills related, to the project that you're going to propose, right? Any awards and achievements, language that you spoke, right? That could help as well to give us a little bit more understanding in terms of your background, right? No specific format, but, clear headings, bullet points, right? Keep it clean, yeah? And then keep the formatting consistent out of the 3 members, yeah? And then it will also help if you put the naming of the PDF is to like CV, and then, if it's a team leader, then team leader, and then the name. CV, if it's the finance manager, then, CV underscore finance manager underscores the name, right? And then it's the project coordinator, same, CV underscore project coordinator underscore name. So it's a simple naming, but then it helps us as well to sort of like have it more standardized and structured, right? All right. The next part is for us to understand your team. Yeah. The purpose of these questions is for us to understand why your team was formed, right? What are your collective strengths? And then also, past experiences that would align with YSEALI's mission. Questions that are going to be asked is, how did your team come together? So share a little bit of story of why you got together, right? Share the team's formation, highlight, your shared goals, passion, values, and then emphasizes also on collaboration and teamwork. This is an example that we have, just as an example, right? Total number of team members, this is what I mentioned earlier. The main team members you have to have are the 3 core members, but then you can also have other team members. And I guess the other team members doesn't have to be within those criteria that are mentioned earlier for the 3 core members. So the 3 core members has to be between 18 to 35, right? Needs to be ASEAN or Timor-Leste citizenship, needs to reside in one of ASEAN countries or Timor-Leste. But the other team members, if you have other team members, it doesn't have to be within 18 or 35. It can be younger or older, right? It can reside outside Southeast Asia, if anything, right? So the main eligibility criteria to follow is for the 3 core members. And then the next question is that the team's previous involvement with YSEALI. So for this one, you can mention, any past participation in YSEALI programs or events. So meaning that, if you have any YSEALI alumni within your team members, mention about that, mention what are the programs that you've been attending, or if that is actually where you meet with each other, right? And then also highlight how previous experiences have, influenced this project that you're going to propose. All right. The next question is now going to your project, right? So we're starting to ask questions to understand more about, your project. This part is the overview of your project. So we want to know what are the goals of your project, right? How does it addresses the challenges that you wanted to work on, right? What's alignment with any of the YSEALI themes, right? And the US SDGs. These are the questions that we're going to ask. So first, we want to know the name of your team or organization, right? So what is the name of your team? So if it's newly formed, it's a time to be creative, right? Pick a name that, again, we would suggest embodies your mission and vision, right? And this name, your team name, is going to be the one that we used for any official communication if you get selected, right? And we're just giving an example here. And then this next question is the project title. So what is the title of your project, right? So we suggested the project title to capture the essence of your project, and then keep it brief and highlight already the impact, right? If possible. This is just one example that we put in terms of a project title. Again, this slide, and then this, I forgot to mention this earlier, I apologize. This slide will be sent to you because we got, because you registered. So after this session, we'll send you, the slide. And then this webinar is also recorded. So the recording is going to be made available on the website. So if you know anybody who is also interested but couldn't able to join, or if you wanted to rewatch it later on, it'll be available on the website. All right, the next question is that your project idea, right? So summarize your project idea to include, the goal, and then how is it addressing regional challenges, right? So what we suggest is that you provide the overview of your project, which outline what are your primary objectives, right? And then tying it to, the challenges that you wanted to address, right? Highlight some innovation and also the impact that you're going to bring, right? We suggest avoid any technical jargon. Use simplified words, right? Use words that are easily understood, right? If you're using AI to help you also with the application, just double check and triple check as well, right? Making sure, again, it's something that you would explain, it's not too technical and not too jargony, right? And then the next question that we're going to ask is the current stage of your project. So this question is going to be one of the questions that would help us to review which tier, if you get shortlisted, that you would fit best, right? So these are the option of the answer, right? And again, you could say you're on pilot stage, but then as we review it, with your impact, with your challenges, with your journey and all that, we might think you fit still in the idea stage, for instance, right? Or you can say pilot stage, but then as we see, you showcase that you actually have been implementing this for quite an amount of time that is, feasible enough and fit enough to be under the catalyst one. So again, be honest as you answer this question, right? Because we're not just going to review and see which tier best fit based on this answer, but we're going to review it in the totality of your application answers, right? And then the next question would be, the start of your project. So if you're just starting, if this is like a new project, then you just say it's in ideation, right? If this has started, then use the format of that month and year, right? Okay. And then the next question is what is the current reach of your project, right? So these are the options that you can pick. If you choose on this one, you're on idea stage, you will not be asked this question. Yeah? Okay. Okay, and then the next question is that where is your project currently located? So if it's located in multiple countries, just type in the primary location and where it's going to be based. I think you can type in multiple location. If this is the first one and still in the ideation stage, and then you can just type in ideation, okay? And then the next two questions basically, linking in alignment with the YSEALI themes, right? So choose which are the YSEALI themes that your project align with. And then the next one would be with the UN SDG, right? Which UN SDG does your project address, right? I mean, you can select up to 3 SDGs. Tips on this is that get to know the list of the 17 SDGs if you haven't, right? And then pick the one that the goals most relevant to your project, right? Okay, the next question is project details. So this, we want to understand more into your project, the problem that you want to address, what is the solution that you're proposing, right? How innovative it is, what's the impact, and the budget overview. Okay, and these are the questions that we're going to ask. First is the problem statement, right? So we want to know, the specific problem or need that your project is going to address, right? So clearly describe the issue, explain why is it significant, to the community that you're trying to reach, right? Provide context and data if available. And then I think with all the questions, it's important for you to take note in terms of the maximum words so that, you answer it succinctly with enough information. It's what we need, right? The next question is that, what is the solution? What is your project solution, right? To the identified problem. So put a detail on your strategy, the activities, right? The interventions that you're going to do. Explain how these actions will mitigate the issue, and then outline steps, that you will do so that it gets executed and implemented successfully, right? And these are the 2 examples that you can read on what we think, a good answer could look like. Okay, next question is what makes your project unique, right? So highlight what are the different aspects, right, that your project is providing or trying to bring in from other potential similar projects, right? Discuss how you have new ideas, how you're using new technologies, right? Or methodologies, right? And how those would enhance, the efficiency and the effectiveness of the solutions. And then the next question is that who will benefit from your project and how? So identify the target community that you're trying to reach, right? What are the anticipated outcomes? Include, immediate and long-term impact. So impact is really important. We want to see that, right? So think about that really as you answer this question. And then use numbers, right? So that we can sort of like see it more in terms of, the impact. So like this example, right? So you actually put the number so that we see that you are actually having a clear output that you wanted to achieve, right? So, you know, aiming 5,000 young adults, right? With reducing waste by 15%. So it's like tangible numbers that you wanted to achieve, right? Okay. The next question is your previous work and successes. So, you know, so this is only for growth stage, right? So if for ideation, you don't need to answer this. But if you have been implementing this project, then, you know, share with us.
Just give us a moment and we'll get back to you, yeah?
Next question is on budgeting. For stage 1 budgeting, we don't need a detailed budget, right? And that would be.
Nalindra,
Am I back? Am I back?
You might want to repeat your previous two statements before.
Okay. Am I back though? G?
Yes.
Okay. From this one? Oh, sorry. This one? Am I here? Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, let me just go back from this one. So the question of project innovation and uniqueness, right? So highlight what is unique about your project, right? Discuss new ideas and technologies that you're using and then how it enhances effectiveness or efficiency of the solution, right? And then the next question is that who will benefit from your project and how. So identify, you know, the target community that you're trying to reach, describe the outcomes, right? Specify it with numbers so that we see that you have a tangible outcome that you wanted to reach, right? And then previous work and successes. So yeah, please describe previous work and successes you've had with the project. So this is only if you're in the growth stage. So if you're in new ideation stage, you don't need to answer this question, right? So outline achievements, milestone, recognition, right? Discuss growth potential. All right, so we go into the budgeting. As mentioned, for stage 1, you don't need to provide a detailed budget yet, right? We just need sort of like a general number, right? So first, provide a basic outline of your project's budget. So you just put on the total estimated budget, and then break it down into just main budget categories. Yeah. And ensure that, you know, it's realistic and aligned with the proposed activities, and it should reflect the project scope. So detailed budget guidelines will be provided if you get shortlisted to stage 2. In stage 1, we just need the number first. What is it that your project is going to cost, right? And then a simple summary of that estimated budget in a paragraph, right? In one paragraph. So 150 words only, right? So like this, right? Example. So the estimated budget is 12,000, and then we're dividing it to, let's say, personnel cost for this much, right? Equipment for this much will be allocated, you know, to develop our mobile app and website. We're going to do training, workshop, and materials, which we will allocate $2,000 for that, and marketing is 1,000. So just a simple budget estimate and summary like this is what we need for stage 1. Okay. All right, the next question, I'm mindful of the time. I have several slides left, and then I'll move to Q&A. Okay, motivation and support needed. So in this part, we want to understand your team's motivation for applying and also the type of support that you might need, right? So question would be, why does your team wants to participate, right? So share, what drives you to apply for this, right? explain how participating in this program in YSEALI for the Future will help achieve your project goals, right? And then what do you wish to gain from the experience, right? And then what type of support? So there's some options here that you will need to pick, right? And you can pick all, if anything. So pick that applies, right? And then in the next question, we will ask you more in terms of those support, right? So provide detail on why you picked those support types, right? How those support will help you address and implement the project, right? And then be specific in a way that we can understand your needs, basically. Okay. I think the last part will be final details, right? So this is an opportunity for you to provide any additional information about your team, about your project. Yeah. So questions that we're going to ask is there any information that you would like to share about your team or project, right? So include, any unique strengths, achievements, challenges, right? And then this is the opportunity for you to, highlight more that you think might make your project proposal, make your team shine better, and a stronger proposal, right? Stronger application. And then the next question is that how did you hear about YSEALI Seeds? So we just want to understand, where do you learn from this program? And I think that's it. Yeah, sorry. That's all the questions that you need to answer in stage 1 application. It's a lot. Tips real quick. So really read carefully, right? All the questions, understand them before answering, right? Be concise, right? There is word limits, right? And then we shared already sort of like the focus. It's there's a description in the questions as well that can help you sort of like understand what we want as an answer, right? Show passion in a way, convey your enthusiasm, right? Commitment, be authentic in your answer, right? Showcase your team, right? And how you're actually like, the project that you're applying to is something that you're really passionate about, right? Provide evidence, highlight team strength, yeah. We want to see, the teamwork and collaboration showcased in a proposal, in your application, right? Again, this is going back over and over, align with YSEALI themes, right? Review your application. And then last one, seek feedback. I mean, there's 3 in the team to start off, right? So go through it together, right? And then have, another set of eyes, pair of eyes to look at your application before you hit submit. So yeah, this is exactly 1 hour, but I haven't take Q&A. Let me stop share real quick, and then let me go through questions, if anything. Hold on, yeah, my screen just closed, unfortunately. Hold on. Okay. Let me just go through. If you can spare with me another maybe 5 minutes to 10 minutes, I'm going to ask some of the questions that are asked, that's been the frequently asked questions, right? And then we don't have time to answer all of the question. Again, please send an email to, I'm going to type it on the chat. Send it here, right? And then we'll have a team to also answer your question. So, okay, so how many projects will be chosen for each countries? So that would be depending on, the selection, like, the quality of the applications. Definitely, we would want at least 1 from each countries, right? But in terms of how many each country then later on will get selected, depending on the application for sure, right? Can a previous YSEALI seed grant recipient apply again for other projects? Yes, and that's why we have those tiers, right? So if you are a previous YSEALI seed grant winner, then showcase that, and so that we can see whether you fit on the second or the third tier, right? Or if you get shortlisted. Group members need to be YSEALI alumni or not? No, but it has to be YSEALI members. If you're not YSEALI members, it's so easy. Go to yseali.state.gov and register as a member, okay? Can one person apply for 2 projects as a member? Yes, technically yes, but by the end of the day, there's only one project that you are part of that can be selected. So I would suggest you focus and prioritize in one project only, and make sure the application and the proposal for that one project is the best application, as opposed to dividing yourself into multiple projects. Is it possible to have cross-country team, but the implementation is only in one location? Yes, that's possible. As long as one of the core team member is in the country where the project is going to be located. Is it possible that we paste links for this? Will the judges access to the link and read the materials? I would suggest that you write it off as opposed to link it to other resources, right? Or other documents, just because we will potentially getting a lot of application, right? So it will really help the selection committee to read the words within your application, as opposed to have to go to other link, yeah? So how many teams will be selected for stage 2? It actually depends on the quality or the qualified applications that we get on stage 1. So we're not limiting on how much is going to be. Let's say if 90% of stage 1 we see is qualified, then 90% will be invited to stage 2, right? So we don't really have that answer, like definite answer, but basically depending on the qualified applicants that we get on stage 1. Is having members with different nationalities within Saudi a strength in this competition? We definitely want to see cross-cultural, cross-country collaboration, but it doesn't, different countries within one team doesn't add or doesn't weigh in to the scoring. Instead of being a nonprofit organization, is it possible that our project earns money to reinvest in? Okay, so this to invest further and expand further to nationwide students. Okay, so in terms of the utilization of the budget, right? We'll send more guidelines if you get selected to stage 2, but just real quick, the project should not be profit oriented, right? Should not tie into any political campaign, for sure, right? It should focus more on social impact and community building, right? So it should not be profit oriented, for sure, right? And then in terms of the budget, it should not, the budget cannot cover any salaries, right? Any buying like big materials or machineries. But again, like all these guidelines in terms of budget will be provided should you get shortlisted into stage 1. If none of my team members has no prior experience with any YSEALI programs or event, how should we answer that question of team's previous involvement with YSEALI? You can just say we don't have any previous involvement with YSEALI, but then answer how you feel that, being now, a new part of YSEALI would benefit you. Like, why do you want to be part of YSEALI programs? What do you think that you can gain by being in a YSEALI program? So maybe you can tailor the answer that way. Okay, webinar, yeah. So we'll send, if you are registered, if you're registering, I guess you get this link because you're registered, right? So we'll send you the slide as the recording. It will be made available on the website. Okay. Let me get three more questions maybe. Is the project timeline March to November is flexible? Can it be shortened for March to June or something? Yes, it's flexible. It can be shortened. It cannot be extended for sure. But also March to June is only what? March, April, May, June, 3 months, right? So I guess we need to see what is your project is going to be, and then will it be feasible to be implemented only within 3 months, right? And then if it's only 3 months, how is the impact is going to look like, right? So we're going to see all that to sort of like assess, the project. Okay, the assessment criteria. Actually, let me just, so some of the question is, I have it in the slide as well.
Nalindra, just to share
Yes.
with you, there is a repeated question about the selection process, prioritizing projects with broader reach and higher numbers. So maybe you just want to address that as well.
Oh, sorry. Which one?
Row number 13. It's been repeated a couple of times now.
Does YSEALI see it would score better or prefer project that has high outreach engagement? That one, G?
Yes.
Okay. Or focus targeted type communities in a certain area. Both would be considered. So there is no preference or higher scoring to project depending on, the outreach engagement plan, right? Or if it's focusing, certain targeted communities. We want to see basically the impact, like what we wanted to see the overall impact of the project itself, right? So it could be broad, it could be in depth, right? But it's multiple things that we are going to review. But let me just hold on, yeah. Quickly share. Okay. So these are frequently asked questions that that so far has been asked through email, right? And I think I've already answered some of this, but yeah, the restriction on the budget, I just want to go through this real quick, right? So again, detailed guidelines on the budget will be provided to those selected to stage 2, but in general, right? So budget of the project should cover all, the direct costs of the project. So we'll review the answer of the applications on, again, am I back? Okay, I hope I'm back. Yes. So we'll review in terms of, the, okay, am I back, G?
Yes, you're back.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I'm back. Okay. All right, so I was just about to say about the scoring criteria, right? So this is what we're going to score for stage 1, right? Looking at the relevancy of the projects to YSEALI themes, right? The level of innovation and creativity that you demonstrated in your application, right? How you have written a clear objectives and implementation plan, right? And then the impact, right? What are the potential impact that you are trying to achieve, with your ideas and solution? The reach in terms of, the beneficiaries, the expected reach. It's not, again, we're not looking like big numbers or small numbers and whatnot, but we want to see how this also tie into the impact, right? And then the experience, skills, and commitment of the team. And then the next point, restriction of the type of project. So this is important as well. So non-political, right? So projects should not be political in that nature, right? And then projects should aim for social impact rather than profit, right? It has to be addressed social, environmental, or community challenges and not to gain profit, right? And this is again aligned with, YSEALI. And then inclusivity. And I guess this is answer some of one of the questions that, it should promote inclusivity and aim to benefit a wide range of communities. But we want to make sure, it's some projects would target specific communities for sure, right? And it doesn't make it, we're not going to score it less than those who targeted like a bigger communities. But these two is critical. And then I think this is the scoring criteria just for your awareness, right? Okay. I think, G, I lost my screen. But is there any other critical questions that you think I should answer? If
Yeah, I think there are a few questions about the assessment criteria based on the
okay.
rating tiers, and
Mm-hmm.
also questions about if they are a social enterprise or an NGO, how do they go about it? Can they still apply? And also the cost for traveling and also honorariums for speakers. Just these general areas, do they put it in the budget? I've answered a few of them, but maybe you want to elaborate.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So I think assessment criteria is somewhat answered already. If it's not clear, then send an email to us with specific detail that you're looking for, right? And then that one is okay. That's we already answered that. For NGO or the entity, I mean, I think it's not an issue, right? Because there are questions about, the organization name and then about the team, and that's where you can share, right? About either your organization, about your entity, right? And I'm sure the specific project that you're applying would be a project basically, right? So it's not going to support your overall organizations per se, but it's going to be like, a, a specific initiatives that your organization might be doing or want to do, right? And we do have, I believe, like previous YSEALI Seeds for the Future winners that are an organization, and then they're applying for a specific activities that is initiated within their organization, but they need funding for that, right? Yeah.
Another common question is also what does non-profit oriented means? And also relating to the term, what does it mean to be long term? 3 years, 5 years, is 2 weeks long term?
Okay, I think long term would be like, yeah, 1 to 3 years, more than 1 year for sure, right? Short term would be in the period of, the YCLCs for the future, so 9 to 1 years, right? And then longer term would be like, exceeding, the YCLCs for a future period. I guess just to simplify sort of like short term and long term. And then about the not-for-profit, basically the project or the activities that you're applying cannot be used to gain any profit, benefit financially from the funding, I guess, right? And then you cannot, like if it's an activity of like training or workshop, you cannot get subscriber to pay you, for instance, for the project, or get people to register, paid registration, for the activities that you're going to hold under the project. Again, detailed guidelines on this would be provided, should get shortlisted to stage 2, but do send an email if this is not yet clear. We'll add also in the FAQ, and then if you haven't gone to the YSEALI for the future, so YSEALI.com, there's a help center there, right? Where a lot of the information that I shared today is there, and then we're going to add more, based on the questions that we received today, and then yeah, the FAQ that we received over the past couple of weeks since the application's open. Yeah, social enterprise, you can apply, but again, like the project cannot be for profit. Like you can't gain profit out of the project that will be funded by this grant. All right, G, I think we're over almost 20 minutes, right? So I think I'm gonna end the session. Thank you so much for staying back. We're over time for 20 minutes. Thank you so much for your time. I apologize if there's a lot of other questions that haven't been answered. Please send your email to the YSEALI email address that I shared earlier, right? And our team is going to answer your question more. Again, the webinar is going to be available on the website, and then we'll share the slide because you're registered. We'll send it to your email. We'll add more also actually on the slide, all the questions with the answers, so that even though I cannot verbally answer it here on the webinar, I'll make sure that, I'll address those questions that are written in the chat on the slide. Okay. Yeah, so we have what, 8 more days until the deadline. Good luck with the application. Again, the website is there. Be resourceful as well, right? Help center is there. Our email address, you have it. So if anything, any more clarification, any more questions, send it to us. In the meantime, I wish you good luck with the application, with the team formation if you haven't had a team, right? And yeah, I'm wishing everyone a wonderful weekend. Again, thank you so much for joining us. I apologize for glitches here and there with my connection. Thank you so much, G Junior, for helping me. All right. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.